In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You're advised that any views expressed by the hosts or their guests are not necessarily the views of Togi Entertainment or its partners.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd. And Robin, you're getting hammered there back on the East Coast with some snow.
We got a second round of it today, actually. But today was just pretty much a dusting, and it actually turned to a little bit of rain, which then gets cold and turns to that freezing rain. So anybody commuting right now is just probably having a little to do. This morning's commute, I understand, was pretty bad, too. So, yeah, we live in New England. We expect it.
That's right. Well, it's cold here today in Southern California. We had snow this weekend. We had about an inch of snow.
Wow.
We did. It was a lot of fun. And I want to talk today, Rob, about veterans discounts and military discounts, and how disappointed I was when I took my dad out to Red Lobster this weekend. And yeah, I'm going to name names. And, we had heard that they give a veterans discount, so he got his veteran card out, and they're like, Nope, we don't give a veterans discount. Nope, we don't give a military discount. Nope, we don't give a senior discount. So boo on Red Lobster in Palmdale.
Well, there you go. We don't have one around here anymore. They've kind of pulled out of this part of New England. I think they're more toward Connecticut. So we can't, I won't patronize them because they're not up here. So, but that's, it is good to know. I have found it's worth calling ahead. Stephen will go to Home Depot, or will go to Lowe's, or will go to wherever that he is expecting a military discount with his ID card, and it just pays to place that call. Yes, I will show this manager my card and get the discount.
Yeah, you're right. I should have done that. I looked online, and I saw them listed, as people who participate. And then when they got there, they're like, nope, not everybody participates. And, so I just thought it was interesting because, all these sites like military and veteransdiscounts.com and veteransdiscounts.com, they claim like 308,637 military discounts and veterans discounts. And, my dad has used his veterans discount a lot of different places, so I'm not complaining. But I really think sometimes it's not right to advertise that, because it makes you look like a nice philanthropic company that cares about the country. And then when you don't, or only some participate, it just, I don't know, just left a bad taste in my mouth. The food was good, but that was not so great.
Well, I also feel that it's important when something like that happens that you write to corporate and say, because of your ad, I went to your establishment in Palmdale and they refused to give me this discount. Either your advertising is wrong or your Palmdale managers are not informed of the company policy. And you know what? They might be a good enough company to send you a coupon and say, hey, dinner's on us, come back, we'd love to have you. Or then if they really don't honor you, then you really do know that you want to spread the word and tell them not to go. But I'm really good. I'm one of these people that, you get me on kind of a tear, and I'm right there at their home office. and they hear from me. I'm kind of upfront like that. I'm not just going to settle for, oh, gee, well, they didn't give it to us. Yeah, I'd go for it, San.
I will. And then, eventually if they don't comply, instead of Military Mom Talk Radio, it'll be like Boycott Red Lobster Talk Radio. The power of the press. But I have to
say, you know what sometimes might happen? You might have a local manager that either is newer or doesn't understand that there are certain steps to take. They might have to fill out an extra form in their paperwork, and maybe that's an annoyance to them and they don't want to do that. But I don't know, and this is a little bit of a tangent. Have you ever seen this show called Undercover Boss that's on, and I think it airs locally around here on Friday night. I don't know if it airs on this nationally.
I haven't.
It's a show where a corporate executive will go undercover, and they presume the role of a new employee coming on board, and they go to all their establishments as this undercover new employee and check out how their staff is really handling their business. And they have had so many different people that they have either found exemplary workers that are working under very difficult situations, but yet they still do the work. And then they have undisclosed people who really weren't doing their job well. But these undercover bosses then reveal themselves later and say, look, you didn't meet up to this expectation. Let me send you to school so you will know how to do this. Let me provide this for you so that you will do a better job here and in your future. So it's a real sort of it's a feel-good kind of a show, because not only do they praise and they reward the good employees, but they also show that this company is willing to help the employees that fall a little short. So that's all I can think of as Undercover Boss when you're telling me this story about Red Lobster. So,
oh my God, I would love that job. I used to do a lot of secret shopper stuff. Our company, Motherhood Incorporated, would do that a lot. We would send in forms, we'd order stuff and see how good they were at fulfillment and what they were doing. And, we only turned in our reports. We never found out, what happened at the end. But, does anybody ever spit in people's food? Do you ever see any really good stuff on there?
I think they edit out some of the really, they must edit some of it out. It's a real interesting show, and I'm sure it's either on Netflix or, people can probably get the reruns somewhere. But it's really interesting, and of course, off the top of my head, I can't think of some of the establishments one was, I think Enterprise Rent-A-Car was one of them, and I think there was a fast food chain that was one of them. It was a lot of different kinds of industries that were doing this, and it really is interesting in that even if you're not a patron of these particular companies, at least you're looking at standard operating procedure and realizing from an inside point of view what kinds of things have to go on to make a business run well. So it's an interesting show, multi-level. You can glean an awful lot of different things. And then, of course, at the end, when they give the single mother the $20,000 trust fund for their kid to be able to go to college because they did a good job, then it's the real kind of tearjerker moment. But they really do some wonderful things on the show. So, I
hope they never come on our show.
I think corporates, no matter who they are, they need a little touch of reality and know what's going on in their world. So you write that letter, Sandra.
I will. Well, and I'm so glad because, many years ago I worked at a lobster house, but it was a lobster house in the Upper East Coast. And people used to leave the claws on their lobster, like they would eat the tail only, and I was forever clearing the plate, breaking the claws off, and then I had a little bucket in the kitchen, and I'd throw them in there, boiling them up, and eat them later. And boy, I bet that would go over well.
Yeah, I don't know as though I think you'd kind of get called on that this day and age. But Yeah, it's hard sometimes getting back to the whole purpose of why you went there. I know that there are a lot of places where you can go to find out whether you do get a discount, a military discount, and it's always worth that phone call beforehand just to make sure that they accept it.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it was disappointing. I mean, I will say the server was really nice. She came over and she's like, my dad served in the Army, and she's like, thank you for your service, sir. And, I thought that was really nice from the server standpoint. And she was all of 19 years old. It was really cool to see her do that.
Yeah. Another site that I actually was going to bring up today, talking about discounts, is Military One Source right now does have a free online tax filing service for the military. So I wanted to make sure to direct people to go to militaryonesource.mil, I believe, and then you can click through and be able to find the information about their free online tax filing. And there are a lot of unique tax elements when you are serving, and you have some special things that are a little bit different than your regular personal tax filing. So it's worth it to go to someone who knows the military requirements.
That's right. The VA.gov also offers that too. I saw that on their site this week.
That's great. Yeah, it's always good to know where we can pick these things up because who doesn't need a little tax help nowadays, huh? It's it changes so frequently. I really have to applaud all of the people who are tax people, because my goodness, that's got to be challenging to have to keep up with all of the changes, and even if you do one of the home tax things, you always get that you have to update it because they have new laws even just before the tax time comes around. So.
I know. Did you ever see that H&R Block commercial that's on there? And there's this old lady that goes, I've done 25,000 tax returns. And I just want to fall over on the couch every time she says that. I think, would be bored to death doing that.
Well, I know someone who's not going to bore you to death. Sandra, we have Suzy Manning coming on after the break and talk about empowering and igniting your world. Suzy has a way to do it, and she always manages to get us going. Let's sizzle after the break with Suzy Manning.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true.
I love it.
Debbie Glickman and Deanna Cohen know it. Join these soul sisters on TogiNet.com. Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true. Showcases two sides. One, to help entrepreneurs showcase their products and tell their story of their happily ever after. And two, to interview people who have realized their own fairy tale and doing something to benefit others. This show is here to help folks who have an idea and want to get it off the ground, as well as to inspire people to make the world a better place by doing something extraordinary or out of the box to help others. Both of these entrepreneurs have their own businesses and websites. With more information on their passions and successes, first for Debbie, fairytalewishesinc.com, and for Deanna, thenextbigzing.com. Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true with the Soul Sisters, Debbie Glickman and Deanna Cohen on TogiNet.com.
Familia, faith, identity, tradición. Latina life is never boring, but it can be muy dramática. So how do you coexist between the old school ways of la abuela and the new school life you're creating for yourself without losing your faith, familia, identity, or tradiciones? Welcome to Living Latina with Francesca Escoto, where culture curls and curves collide in one spicy cross-cultural conversation that will leave you begging for más. Francesca tackles all the important issues, from politics to family values to religion to, you guessed guessed it, relationships and men. As Chief Everything Officer at the Wow Factor, Francesca is passionate about showing women of all cultures, ages, and lifestyles how to rock what they've got with style, sass, and smarts. Be sure to join her every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Living Latina, only on the Woohoo Radio Network.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've got a rockin' show today. We've got Suzy Manning of Sizzle, and we've got Lisa Detres from Women in Faith. So we're not only going to sizzle, but we're going to sizzle like not in the way going to hell. We're going to sizzle all the way up to heaven with Lisa's help. How's that for wrapping those two together?
I think that combines it totally.
Well, it's just so funny because we see Suzy Manning of Sizzle, woo, and then Lisa Detres, Women in Faith. But Suzy talks about Sizzle. It's so funny because I think of Sizzle like sexy, but she wants women to feel good in their bodies. She wants them to re-energize, renew, reward themselves. And, it was about a year ago, Rob, that we had Suzy Manning on, I don't know if it was this show or Motherhood Talk Radio. I can't remember.
It was this one, yep.
Was it this one that I was so embarrassed that I never went out and saw the sun, especially some days I'd work from sun up to sundown, and she's like, you must go out and stand in the sun. And I do, and it does make a difference.
It does.
It does. So, Suzy, are you with us?
I am with you, yes, and I'm loving your story of Sizzle and standing in the sun, and I'm excited and honored to be back on with you. So how are you, Sandra and Robin?
I am wonderful. I cannot think of sunshine now, and I walk outside and I think of you, Suzy, probably almost every day. I make sure I get my sunshine. And, it's so important that you said that to me because it's really just a 2-minute or a 3-minute thing sometimes, but it makes all the difference.
Very true. I like that you share that because, it's small shifts in your life that, make a huge difference. And whether it's like you shared, just stepping outside for a while, getting some fresh air, walking around the block, absorbing some of that sun, sitting in a favorite chair and reading a chapter in a book, but just taking a few minutes for you to renew and re-energize so you can be full to be there for your family and your kids and your business.
Suze, when you talk about renew and re-energize, I had written a blog a while back that went around the internet called I Am Not an Inexhaustible Resource. And I can't tell you how important it is to renew and re-energize in some really, really small ways, what a difference that makes. In your coaching practice, what are some of the things that women do to renew and re-energize on a small way? We'd all love to go to a spa. We'd like to get a manicure and pedicure. For most of us, that type of stuff just isn't in the budget or in the time. What are some things that you can teach us in ways that we can renew and re-energize?
Okay, I'll share a few with you in just a minute, but you hit on something really important when you said we aren't inexhaustible. And I think what women need to understand is we are great at nurturing. It's one of our greatest qualities. But we nurture everybody else first and ourselves last, if at all. And that's when we become empty. So little ways to re-energize. Curl up in a favorite chair and read a chapter in a book. Go outside and walk around the block. Call a friend and meet them for a cup of coffee. Go to the library. What is it that you really love to do? What really gets your juices flowing and gets you sizzling and brings a bounce to your step and brings happiness to you. Take that time to slow down. So often we don't slow down. I mean, we get up and especially if we're moms, you're running. Take a few minutes, even if you get up earlier in the morning than the rest of the family. Take a few minutes and just sit in silence. I don't care if you say a prayer, if you meditate, if you just connect with your breathing, but take a few minutes. It's amazing. It will ground you. It helps center you. It's going to help you really realize what's important in your life that day and what isn't. And a lot of people will say, but my life's too busy. I don't have that time. The amazing thing that happens when you take, it can be, say, 5 minutes. 5 minutes to slow down and be still and be quiet and connect with the amazing being you are and this amazing planet that you're living on. Just soak that in. And what happens, you will end up having more time in your day to get more done because you're going to realize what's important and what you don't have to do that day. In that space, you can also put the message out. What's really resonating with me to do today? I mean, your body's going to tell you. I always call them heart whispers. You hear that when you're going through your day. It's like, oh, boy, I would love this. I would love to do that. Oh, this would be fun. So listen to that. Your body's going to tell you what you need. And then say, okay, cool. I'm going to put it in my day today.
Well, and
body will tell you.
One of the things that struck me with what you said and, what you said on the show last year was just taking a minute. Like, I used to think, like, I don't even have a minute to breathe, a minute to pee, and I really did set my life up that way. And I found that I want to share with the women listening today not to feel bad if you have no idea what you need to do to renew and rejuvenate or reinvigorate. Because when you first posed that question to me, Suzy, I was stumped. I was so busy with everybody else and everything I needed to do, not even attending to the most basic needs of, grabbing a cup of coffee or going to the bathroom. I was so disconnected, and I think a lot of us are.
Well, and thank you for sharing that.
Sorry, Suzy. I was going to say, don't you always find, too, that when you have little children, you don't have quite the same control as somebody who might be older and not have little children around, because you're saying, I very well remember you couldn't even go to the bathroom without somebody knocking on the door, whining or crying or, pick me up now. And you really do have somewhat of a challenge. But even more so, I think that's when you need to just be able to capture what Suzy's saying, as far as it could just be a moment that you are looking at a photograph that you love, or maybe, what does it for me, holding a rock that came from the beach that I picked up, and I'll find something that's so smooth. And if I just sit and kind of hold that almost like a what are those beads called? The beads that you just kind of meditate with. That's the kind of thing that you really need. Now that your kids are a little older, you can have that time to go to the bathroom maybe, but...
Very true. I like that you shared holding a special stone or a rock, and it's interesting because the rocks are holders of energy, and they have great energy, and it'll calm you down, it will relax you. But you were saying, too, how busy your life is when kids are little. I mean, I remember that, locking myself in the bathroom and calling some, because I thought I was going to go crazy. I remember my daughter doing that, too. But I think what we need to realize then at that point is, yes, it is very busy. It is very draining on us. It's very full. So can we create times for us to do something with someone else, like create an actual time where I'm going to go somewhere, where you call someone in to take care of your children, or your husband's at home, or a friend comes over. Make the time, because we realize it gets so busy and we just get caught up in everything, and then it's the next day and the next day and the next day, and we've had no out or no place for us to go to unwind, to relax, to re-energize, and we need that. So when the kids are that young, actually set a date or a time, say on Tuesday at 2:00, I'm going to do this, and find someone who can come and watch the kids. So you do have that time out for you, because you certainly need that to renew and re-energize.
I think that's even more important too. If you are stationed on a base and your spouse is deployed, you do need that time, and you need to find someone maybe that you can swap off that time, just so you can have a little bit of escape and you can rejuvenate. I think that's what's hardest for someone who might be stationed with their spouse and their spouse gets deployed. That being alone with the kids is so hard to feel like you have control over when you do have that time to rejuvenate.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's three things I'm thinking of that we need to do as women. We need to delegate more. I know a lot of us, and I've been through this, where it's like I have to do everything myself. It's got to be done just the way I want to do it. So to learn to delegate that's okay. We can let go of certain things. As women, we have a hard time saying no, that, everybody wants you to do this, do that, or just to say no, that when you say no, then that means a yes for you to do something. And I just forgot the last one. That's why I'm going to say three things, and I'll forget one in the process.
Well, I think one is just give yourself a break. It's like one of my neighbors, I wanted to punch her because she's like, you still have a candy cane on your horse gate, and it's February. And I said, well, maybe it's going to work for Valentine's Day. I mean, you can only do what you can do. And so being kind to yourself is a big part of it.
Yeah, and that on the other one, I mean, everything does not have to be done. I mean, all these things you think have to get done, do they really have to get done today?
No.
What's really important is having some time to take care of you, because the more time that you have to renew and re-energize you, then the more energy and wellness and humor and happiness that you have to share with your family. But I think we get caught up in that we have to do everything and it has to be perfect and we have to do it right now. And, if you have children, there's certain things you need to tend to, but do we really need to do everything? Does a bed need to be made every day and made just so? Is somebody going to come in and, put it in the newspaper that so-and-so didn't make their bed that day? Can we really let certain things go and really relax and enjoy life more?
I think it's so important to do just that, to find that joy in life. And after the break, Suzy, I'd like you to stay with us just a little bit longer if you can, because I'd love to talk a little bit more about, as we get a little bit older, keeping that rejuvenation just as sparky and spontaneous. We're with Suzy Manning. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Are you the kind of parent who just wants their kids to live the life of their dreams? Well, grab your kids and join How to Raise a Millionaire Radio with Ann Morgan James and Jack James. It's a lively interview and call-in show, Thursday, 6 p.m. Central on the Rockstar Radio Network. This dynamic mother and son team are on a mission. They want to empower kids to dream big and go after those dreams with gusto. They want to fill the world with kid entrepreneurs. Are your kids ready for success? Don't miss their fun antics, lively guests, and discussions. For more on Ann and Jack and their show, check out their website, howtoraiseamillionaire.com. Then join the conversation of lively interviews and call-ins. And let's give our kids the tools and encouragements they need to build a future they can bank on, no matter what the economy throws their way. It's How to Raise a Millionaire Radio with Ann Morgan James and Jack James. Thursdays, 6 p.m. Central on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Hey kids, do you think you're creative? Do you want to be? Don't have enough time for your arts, crafts, and hobbies? Or do you just need a kick in the pants? Hi, I'm Mark Lipinski, the host of Creative Mojo with Mark Lipinski, right here on TogiNet Radio. Come on and join me every Wednesday afternoon for some creative inspiration and two of the fastest fun-filled hours of your week. Hey, need ideas? How about a little motivation and a lot of inspiration? Join the fun on Creative Mojo with me, Mark Lipinski. I'm here live every Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on TogiNet.com. Now what are you waiting for?
Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, Military Moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we are halfway through our show already. And for those of you that have missed the first half of the show, we are visiting with Suzy Manning of Sizzle.com. That's with 3 Z's. If you missed the first half of the show and you'd like to hear that or our other 135 shows that have aired, you can pick us up on iTunes under Military Mom Talk Radio. You can also go to the .com by the same name, Military Mom. Robin, forget it. MilitaryMomTalkRadio.com.
Don't you hate that?
I do. It's a mouthful.
Oh. I know, especially when there's a lot of storm coverage, you do have to laugh at some of the bloopers. And I always feel so good that if I've made a mistake on the air, at least I know some people on like NBC or CBS or wherever, they do it too. So no, it's so hard. Military Mom Talk Radio. And of course, now that you have a new show, Sandra, at least they don't both start with M. The other one starts with
awful. Never, ever again. Motherhood Talk Radio and Military Mom Talk Radio was brutal.
Because it's an MMMMM all the time. Yeah. You know, Suzy, before we went to the break, we were kind of going into a little bit of a discussion, and I wanted to pull it over to how one can sort of keep an inner spark as life changes for us. And it might be post-deployment. It might mean new careers. It could be that we're getting into our 40s and 50s and even beyond, and in my case anyway. It's difficult to sort of find excitement in new life, if you will. But we can do it, can't we?
Oh, definitely. And again, it was something you were just sharing too when you were laughing about what you were saying. I mean, we need to let go of perfection, and we need to kind of simplify life. And again, we need to slow down a little and realize that, yes, there's something very special within us that we can gift to the world. There's something that's really going to resonate within us. And it just takes time to slow down and to listen and to start to engage and discover, what is it that you have an emotional attachment to? What is it that you can do and lose all track of time doing? What is it that maybe's been a challenge in your life, unique to you, that nobody else has experienced? Often all of those together can be your purpose in life, or can be transformed or translated into a business or a job to make money. So is there something that a cause or something happening that doesn't make sense to you, and you get a real emotional attachment to that? Do you want to turn that into a business? Have you, like there was a lady that I met recently, and she had experienced cancer, and so had her husband. So she wanted to work with couples who both were experiencing cancer, because she understood that. She understood it as a person herself who had it. She understood what it was like to have a partner who had that experience. I work with women because of my experience growing up. It's just what I'm very passionate about, to help women see their inner beauty and magnificence and power and their sensuality, and to realize that we are being called to step into leadership as our authentic selves. So I'm passionate about that. There's something in your life that's happened for a reason. It didn't happen to you, it happened for you. And oftentimes if you tap into that, you realize that maybe that's the next phase of your life, something that's really going to resonate with you. You want something that you're going to wake up every morning and be so energized that you can't wait to get up, and you'll still be energized when you go to bed. Your creativity will enhance, and it's going to be when you tap into something that really resonates within you. It's not looking out there, okay, where am I going to make the most money? Where am I going to get the most status? What did my teachers tell me I could do? It's something within you that you need to tap into, that you know what it is. Usually we know what it is, and we're afraid to go there, but to trust that process, that it's showing up in your life for a reason. Does that make sense?
Wow. That's so empowering. I've got to capture that. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Oh, my word, that's so empowering. Absolutely.
Yeah, so often we go, oh my gosh, look what just happened to me. If you can just flip that a little bit, just switch the perception a little bit and go. That doesn't mean it's not going to be a sad time or a challenging time, but what is the gift in that for you? What can you learn from that experience, and how can you take that gift out to the world to maybe somebody else that's going to experience that, and you can help them through the same challenge?
That's wonderful.
How does that experience help you grow? To become more. We're always growing and evolving and becoming more. So how everything shows up to help you become more than you ever thought you could be. The key is what really resonates with you. What gets you. I mean, you can hear how passionate I am. I mean, I'm just so passionate about what I do because it comes from within me. It's an experience I had in my life, and I see it within other women, and I want to help them realize how powerful and wise and beautiful they are.
Well, and the other thing, Suzy, that this kind of stuff does is it gives meaning and value to your suffering. I put a post up on Facebook the other day. I think you and Lisa Detres, who's our guest coming on with us shortly, it was the, like the things that I wish I had known when I filed for divorce. And then I posted a follow-up saying, 4 years later, what I know now since I filed for divorce. And a lot of that stuff resonated with a lot of women, and they forwarded it to other women, and it took the pain and humiliation and all the things, the negative stuff that I had experienced going through that process, and made it positive because I was able to help other people, and it gave value to the pain I went through. It gave it meat. Instead of just suffering in silence, I shared it. I made a difference. People were positive back to me, but it also gave meaning to a tough situation.
Yes, and now if you can look at that as, thank you for sharing that. That's powerful, and that's the example I was giving earlier. Yeah, you had experience in your life at the time was horribly painful and humiliating that you shared, and now you can, a couple years later, look back, or I don't know how many years later, but you can look back at it, go, wow. Look at what I learned from this. Look at how I grew, and now I can help others with it, and that's the key. And then you can look at it and realize, whoa, it happened for a reason, to get me to this point in my life, to be the woman I am now. You wouldn't be the woman you are now if you hadn't experienced that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Suzy, I'd like you to stay with us. I'd like to bring on Lisa Detres. She's here for our Women in Faith series. And Lisa, you saw the Facebook post that I put up there, and you have had your share of taking situations in your life and having them relate to the women around you in empowerment through faith. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Hi, Sandra. Yes, I can, and I love where this is going today because I don't think there's any experience that we can go through in life, and if we come through it with a good attitude, no matter how bad the experience was, if we can keep a good attitude and say, what have I learned, and how can I use this to help other people? Because there's no experience that somebody goes through that's totally unique to them. Everybody, there's kind of nothing new under the sun. So if I can take what I've learned from my bad experiences, even my bad choices, and use that and turn it around to help somebody else, then we win. We win. We make our little part of the world better, and maybe we can keep somebody else from making some of the bad choices we made. And and Suzy, I love what you said earlier about taking time every day to just be alone and be quiet and meditate or get yourself centered during the day. That's something that in my Christian faith and that's really emphasized, that, we need to take some time and just spend it alone with God and get ourselves centered for the day. And you're absolutely right. It does make your day flow better, and you're more productive, and it just works. Somehow it works. No matter how little time you think you have, it works. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I think it's always so important,
hugely important.
To find that element in your life that does give you joy. One of the things that you were talking about too, Suzy, was that to be able to find something to be excited about. And sometimes that might be volunteering. Sometimes that might be doing something with the children because you see the impact that you've had with the kids. And I'm sure, Lisa, you have an awful lot of people who you are helping to either do some volunteer work or finding things that give them that satisfaction.
Absolutely. And I...
Oh, who did we lose? Yeah, we lost somebody, and I'm not sure. But yeah, we have about a couple minutes before the break, Lisa. So you must have a lot of elements that you have helped people find some rewarding experiences.
Well, I have, and I try to emphasize, keeping a good attitude no matter what's going on in your life, even going through a divorce or losing a family member. We can sink into bitterness, we can point fingers, we can blame, we can become just destroyed by any experience in life, or we can, try to keep a good attitude, a positive attitude, and see, how we can use that experience and the lessons we've learned to help others and to, find our way in life. And I think as we get older and move into new seasons of life, which is what Suzy was alluding to, I think it's good to look back in your childhood and say, what were some of the things I dreamed about when I was little? What was I going to do when I grew up? Because we all have this long list of things that we're going to do. And for me, I always wanted to write a book. And here I am now. My kids are pretty much grown, and I'm writing my book. I got my education. I worked in the garment industry. I did a lot of things that were on that list. Now I'm writing the book. And it's really exciting because it's like there's something else that I knew I was always going to do, and I'm finally doing it because I have a little more time now.
And I think it's wonderful. We do not have a structure, a timeline. We have a lot of things to do no matter what age we are. And Lisa, on the other side of the break, we're going to pick up after this. And maybe Suzy will be back and maybe not. But Sandra and Lisa and I certainly will be there. Stay with us on Military Mom Talk Radio.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
The Mary Beth Wells Hour is a talk radio show where we reach out, reach deep, and talk about topics of substance. We'll cover points of interest, such as World War II and the Holocaust, the Vietnam War, the planets and the oceans, skydiving, rock climbing, and much, much more. Join me every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we delve into and discuss fascinating subjects. It's a program to pique your interest for sure.
Are you fascinated by the stories behind the stories, the people behind their masks, the truth about people's failures and redemptions in both their business and personal lives? Then Off the Record Secrets of with host Judy Schreiner is for you. It's people's secrets that make them interesting, but very few folks are willing to reveal them unless they trust that their information will be treated with accuracy, fairness, and respect. People have been entrusting their secrets to longtime business journalist Judy Schreiner for the last 25 years, and now she's bringing her expertise and impressive contact list to Rockstar Radio Network. Tune in and call in as host Judy Schreiner talks to guests off the record as they reveal new secrets each Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hi, everyone. It's Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck with you today on Military Mom Talk Radio. And if you missed the first part of our show, we do want you to find us on iTunes and at militarymomtalkradio.com. And right here on our TogiNet host station, you'll find our show page with lots of podcasts. We were talking earlier with Suzy Manning. She is the founder and brains behind Sizzle, SIZZZL.com. And we want to also let you know that her book, Wise Women, Circle of Wisdom, is available. What an inspiring book, and what an inspiring woman she is, because no matter what element of or what part of your life you're in, she's going to help you find the best way to just enjoy and nurture and be good to yourself so that your world is enlightened. And talking about enlightening, we're talking now with Lisa Detres. She's a pastor's wife, a writer, a mother of 4, and she certainly has found lots of things to be inspired in life with. And I guess your Augie sent you something yesterday or gave you a call yesterday, Lisa. Is that true? That kind of brightened your day?
He did, and it always brightens my day when one of my kids calls me. But I was actually out chopping wood, and I heard my phone ring, and I picked it up, and it was Augie. So in terms of dropping everything, yes, absolutely. That was a good choice. But
where is he calling in from?
I'm sorry?
Was he calling in from Fort Drum?
Actually, he is back in Fort Bragg now, North Carolina. But yeah, he was calling from the base there. And one of the first things he said was, "Mom, I shot myself." And, as soon as I heard shot, I quit here listening and freaked out. Shot, oh, what happened? Oh, no. And then he said, and then, when I calmed down, he said, "I shot myself in the thumb with a paintball." And I just wanted to reach through the phone and strangle him. I have a big welt on my thumbprint now. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, this kid. Anyway, but that was just funny. And I'm thinking that's one of the things that in having a loved one in the military, it's one of those things that anything could happen at any time. And he's not even deployed. Mm-hmm. But they can get hurt in training. They can, things can happen on base. And it's just one of those little kind of dark clouds that hangs over our heads. And now he's talking about, being in maneuvers and out pretty much most of the year. And that's where our faith comes in, and that's where we have to stay grounded and focused on the things that are important and the things that are real, and not worry about what's going to happen today or tomorrow or next week. And just enjoy the time that we have with them when we can. We ended up talking for about 3 hours. My husband got to talk to him for a while. My daughter talked to him, and it was a good time spent with our son. And but it didn't start out so well.
And I think it's always hard for military families because I know when we see posts that are on the Parents of Deployed Service Members Facebook page, someone will say, I got a call today. I got to talk to my son today, or I got a message from my daughter today. And those precious moments are the ones that you just stop your world, you appreciate, you savor every bit of it. And nobody, I think, more appreciates that than a military family.
I think so, just because, well, possibly a family of, I've known families of, firefighters and police officers that are kind of the same way. Any job that puts a person in harm's way, they kind of have that cloud hanging over them all the time. And that's where we really need to reach out to these families and stay close to them and stay connected, so that should, God forbid, that happen, because it does happen, that we can be there and we can kind of help them. And even if they don't get injured or killed, if they have some sort of traumatic experience on the job, we can be there and bring support and help them find the resources they need, whether they have PTSD or, whatever else issues that come up, that, they need a support system. Everybody needs a support, but especially those who are in harm's way, they really need a strong support system around them so that we can be there to help them.
Mm. Now, Lisa, what do you do if you're somebody like me? Because, I always have to ask the dumb question. If you don't have strong faith, if you haven't been going to church since you were 6 years old, I have strong faith now, but there have been times in my life that I was really disconnected. In a situation like this with deployment, with all that fear and stuff, what do you advise women to do? Like, where do you start? What do you do? You can't just pick up the Bible and start reading it. At least I couldn't.
Well, some people do, but, I think that there's some good sources online. It's a little scary because you can find anything online, and some are good and some aren't so good. Most towns have churches. Go just visit and see if there's anything that goes on there that resonates with you. Or, that's a good question. Maybe just start talking to God. It's like, I don't really know you very well. I think you're there, and, I'd kind of like to get to know you a little better. There's a lot of things that we can do, and some are very personal, like talking to God or picking up the Bible. Some are to, maybe go visit a local church, or several of them. I recommend, I was talking to a lady that visited our church this weekend, and she said, well, we're just trying to find a church. And I said, well, I like to use the rule of 3. Go 3 times and see what you think about it. And you really do have to go on your feelings and how it feels. Some churches feel very awkward, and it's like, I think I won't go back there. And others, you'll just feel like you're warm, like you're with family, and you'll want to come back. So I would definitely recommend that, if you want to kind of develop a type of faith or become stronger or get to know God, which is what my book is about, by the way, that, you start small. Maybe you have a friend that's a Christian that says she's a Christian, that you can kind of start asking some questions or invite yourself to her church, There's a lot of things that we can do.
What's your title of your book?
Well, the working title is In a Relationship. And I kind of like that title because it's all about how to develop a relationship with God, as opposed to just practicing a religion.
There's a difference, isn't there?
Yes, there is a difference. And I'm not an authority on religions. I'm not a theologian, but what I do know just from my own life and from a lot of other people that I've talked to and read about is that God created us. He made us for a purpose, which is kind of what Suzy was alluding to, that we do have purpose in life. And he loves us, and he wants to get to know us, and unfortunately, because we've made choices that left him out of the circle, that there is sin in the world, there's bad things that we do and that we choose to do, that there's now a separation that we need to kind of, God is there for us, but we need to kind of reach out and acknowledge that he's there. And it's not that difficult to do, but for whatever reason, a lot of people find it hard to, maybe because we can't see him, even though there's evidence of him around us. It's hard for people to kind of take that step and get to, start a relationship. But it is a relationship, and there's definitely, power and that and peace and all kinds of good things that God will bring to us when we do forge that relationship. And it's definitely not one-sided.
Have you or your husband had the opportunity to talk to military chaplains? We've had a number of them on our past shows, and what's interesting is that they've had to blend various faiths into their comfort to different soldiers for different reasons. I wonder if you've had that experience.
I have not personally. However, my husband actually was... when he was in school, his undergrad major was in social work, so he was working in the emergency room at a hospital in Hollywood. I think it was Hollywood, California. And yes, I mean, that's one of those situations where you have to be sensitive to the faith of the people that you're talking to, and kind of feel out the situation as to whether. Do you want me to pray with you? Do you want to just have a moment of silence? And that's something that, we, especially I guess Christians are kind of misunderstood as to being a little too forceful with our faith. But it really is something that we want to be sensitive to the beliefs and faith of others, and especially in a situation like the military or in a hospital setting, that's not the time to proselytize. It's a time to offer strength and encouragement however we can.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what a relationship with a higher power is, whether you call it God or Yahweh. I mean, there's like, Lisa, we talked one time about when I first started going back to church, and there were all these words I didn't understand, and they all meant God, so I think, it's interesting to wrap it together, what Suzy was talking about, a very spiritual bent, like just going out and enjoying the day and realizing you're part of something larger. And Lisa, with the Christian faith perspective, by putting a label on it as, God or, whatever, I think it's very interesting that a lot of these roads lead to the same place.
And inner peace.
They can. It kind of depends on which roads we're talking about. But, yeah. I think most people of faith will tell you that their lives are better because of their faith.
Oh, absolutely. I like to tell people, and people press me a lot of times because of the radio, because of my company. They ask me what I believe. They ask me what I think. And, honest to God, it's just easier. My life is easier with faith, however you want to define that. Rob, do you have anything to add?
No, and I think that that's true. Whether it's a spirituality, whether it's a faith, a God-based religion, it's that inner spirit that we want people to find. And thank you, Lisa, for helping us work it through, because it sometimes does need somebody to just calm us down and point us in the right direction, and you always do that. Thanks, Lisa.
Well, thank you. And I just one last thing. I think, if you talk to a soldier that's been in a foxhole with bullets shooting overhead, he finds his faith very quickly. So
yes.
It's there.
It is. Next week, do tune in. We've got Linda Jefferson from Go Army Homes. We've got Autumn Arnold to help us keep fit. And we've got Kevin Hull joining us to talk a little bit about ADD, autism, and children on the spectrum. So do join us here on Military Mom Talk Radio.